Hey guys, this is Eric. 58 Chevy time again. This time I'm going to tackle the firewall. So take you over here. You can see there are holes everywhere. We got a little rust here. So I'm in a dilemma whether I weld up all these holes or I just build a panel to smooth that over. Now I can just cut out what I'm not going to use and weld it up. So what I decided to do was I'm going to build a panel. So let's see here, I got a template around here. Well, I ended up making a template, transferring it here to the sheet metal and run it through the bead roller and just kind of give this firewall a little flavor. I mean, I'm here, might as well. So my goal today is to make a panel, get it fit, run it through the bead roller, add a little flair to it, and then mount it back on there and get this firewall taken care of so I can get it body worked and painted. I already got the inner wheel wells powder coated, so after that's done, then I can put together the LS1, throw that in here, and everything else. So let's get to it. Okay guys, got the firewall all kind of cleaned up a little bit here. Mainly just clearing up, I'll cut out the high spots in there so the panel sits on there a little nicer. I got a template here made out of cardboard. I'm going to draw up a little pattern on it and transfer it to the sheet metal. And that'll be our next step. I'll get the sheet metal all tuned up and then get it transferred to here, get it clecoed on, see what it looks like, and we'll go from there. So now I got this panel all laid out the way I want to do it. I think I was playing around with different ideas, what I wanted to do. I think I'm going to do a series of dimple dies across here and then do some bead rolling just to give it a little flair in the engine bay there. So my next step, start drilling a bunch of holes and I'm going to bead roll it and then dimple die it. And I got a bunch of stuff to trim up on it and fit and all that junk. So anyway, I'm going to start messing with this firewall panel. Hey guys, all right, so I got the panel all laid out here. Today I'm going to be using this Mittler Brothers electric bead roller machine here, and this is going to add some strength and rigidity to this otherwise flat panel here. Plus it makes it look cool. So I added all these holes here previously. It's just easier for me to do it now, but I'll come back here and punch these out, do some dimple dies on them. But ultimately what I want to do is this edge right here that I have laid out, that's all going to get raised up, and then I'll drop the dimples down, and then this exterior edge here is all going to be against the body. So it'll add a little something to it, and kind of like what Dane's got on his truck here, where we have these raised sections here. That's what we're going to do to this panel here. So let's get started. Okay, so I did this little step roll here all the way around just to give it some structure, and that's bringing the panel out, and then these will drop in. And I'm a little bit debative whether I want to add something in here. It seems like just a big blank space. What I could do is step this back down again onto the inside, so that I essentially have a body line going here. I think that's what I'm going to do. So I added this extra little triangle on here, which I'm kind of glad I did. Pretty tight corners in there. I'm probably gonna have to get in there with the body hammer and straighten it out, but anyway, it just adds a little something more to this panel here too. Plus this line here is going to mimic the original firewall line, which basically comes through here. So I have a bunch of lines going on. So next step, we're going to dimple all these out, and that'll add more depth to it and just another level of something on this firewall. So, and then we got to trim off all the excess. So anyway, it's better than basic, and it's better than welding a bunch of holes. So next step, dimple die, here we go. So as you can see here, we got all the dimple dies put in here. We had to do the knockout punch first. That gives me this initial hole for the dimple dies to fit. It's a lot easier than drilling a hole that big or hole saws or whatever, but anyway, you can kind of get the idea here. So we have all the recessed areas. That just kind of complements it. I don't know, it's something I wanted to do. So the next step will be to cap the back sides of all these, and yeah, so it's all sealed off, and then we'll work on getting it fit to the firewall. And yeah, so I like to do firewalls. I like to do all this stuff here. It's a pretty small firewall, nothing too crazy. Just want it to be clean, not too street roddy, but yeah, it is what it is. But it's better than a bunch of holes and a bunch of welding and stuff like that. So the next step, like I said, we're gonna finish welding up the back side of that, and then we'll trim it and work on getting everything fit. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today. Basically I made that firewall out of sheet metal from a cardboard template. Overall pretty happy. I got a bunch of fitting to do on it. We'll cut out everything behind it, weld it in, and make it look seamless. So, but for right now it doesn't look too bad. A lot better than what it did. So anyway, so I added some dimple die look up there, some bead rolls there. I wanted to add these lines through here to kind of mimic the original line right there. So but yeah, overall it should give a nice clean look, especially when it's all painted and stuff. So the idea is to get the firewall painted back blue body color. So next step will be cutting all that out, welding it in. Until tomorrow. Hey Hey guys, Eric here with Retro Rides. I'm back to put more work into the 58 wagon firewall. So yesterday I got everything built and fit roughed in there. Today I'm going to pull it off and start cleaning up the old firewall and and get it all welded in. So today I will show you lots of projects in here. Today I'm joined by Dane. He's working on his own rig over here. We'll get more of that later. But as you can see, we started fitting all this stuff in here. It's real loose, but I'm gonna cut out everything behind it, or majority of it anyway, and fit this back on there and weld it. And then from the inside, I'll do a little welding as well. Still got plenty of holes all around here to fill. So that's gonna keep me busy. But anyway, I'm pretty happy with how it's turning out so far. So let's get cutting. Couple patch panels, got the holes all cut out and cleaned up. I'm just going to do an overlay on these. I'm not going to try butt welding them, but I wanted to clean it up so when you're looking at it from the inside of the car it doesn't look like complete garbage. But the old fresh air vent's going away. I'm going to cut that out. Got a little rust there, got a bunch of rust here, so made some patch panels, and it's all going to be behind the firewall, but I just want to make sure it's sealed up in there before that. So over here I got Dane. Dane's going to town on the old Ford. What year is this, Dane?
73.
73. Dane had this truck, cruised it in high school. He's been going to town on this thing. So right now, Dane's cutting out the wheel wells there, the clearance, everything. He built some big old notches for it. 2-link setup with air. So I want this thing to lay out when it's done. Coming out good so far. Here, the front end here is where all the action's been. So Dane got rid of the twin I-beam setup on here, put a Fat Man Fabrications Mustang 2 setup with air, power rack and pinion. You see he's been going to town on the inner wheel wells also. So this is Dane's first full build, and it's his personal truck. I think it's rad and it's coming along good. So we'll come back later when he starts cycling the rear suspension in it. But yeah. Dane's over here cycling his suspension here on the Ford, and look how much lift this thing has on it. You'd be able to change a tire no problem on it. Air this thing out. Now let's see how low it goes. Anticipation. I think you're clear.
You're clicking in. Switch to.
I think that's good enough. So finally I got all the holes welded up. I got all the small ones taken care of. Cut out some rust and the fresh air vent that we're not going to use anymore on the firewall. It'll all get covered up by the next one. I'm just going to go around, kind of clean up everything so the panel sits flush, and then probably put some weld through primer on it. On this side I already did the back of the firewall itself just to cut down on some of the rusting and whatever. Yep, so I'm gonna get grinding. Looks like I got all the firewall pretty well smoothed up. I went ahead and threw some zinc weld through primer on everything as well, on both sides of the bare metal. Try to help keep it sealed up a little bit. So everything's fit back on. I'm going to work my way around it and start welding this thing in. Hey guys, I'm back, and as you can see, firewall's all welded in. Did a bunch of grinding. It's been a long day of fitting, grinding, and welding, as you know. I'm gonna get into these projects, but it's all in there for good now, and pretty happy with it. I got some things to tune up on it still, and then I think the next plan is to wash it and prep it and get some epoxy on it and start moving closer to paint. I'm still on the fence about whether or not I want to do blue like the body, or do a matte satin black, which is what the inner fenders are going to be. I'm thinking more towards the black, just keep the engine bay real nice and clean. But either way, get it all body worked up, prepped, and ready to go, and that will do it. And then I can start putting this thing back together, which I'm excited about, and start going forward again. So if you like what you see, keep watching. Comment below whether or not I should do blue or black, whatever you think. Also, if you like Dane's ride over there, his pickup truck that he's been working his butt off on, we can show more of that as well. Dane's really come a long ways here with Retro Rides, and that truck has come a long ways too. So it's getting fun, and it's a cool little truck. So stick with us, we'll show more of it. But if you want to see a whole separate video part of it, let me know. Comment below. And yeah, I think that's going to do it for today. I may come back tomorrow and prep on it. That'll be the next phase. So anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time. Hey guys, Eric with Retro Rides. Just wrapping up this weekend here. I went ahead and got the firewall all epoxy primed, prepped it, epoxy primed it, and then put some high build on it. The next phase after this, I'll do some body work and then get it painted. I'm leaning more towards the satin black look, just to keep the engine bay nice and clean. But overall, it came out pretty good. Again, this is just kind of a quickie to get this thing back on the road. I went the other way, now I need to go forward. So anyway, stay with me. We'll get this thing painted here in the next week or so, and then we can start putting that LS back in it and start getting a little bit closer to cruising this thing. So if you like what you see, like and subscribe. And if you got any comments or suggestions about color for the firewall, let me hear it. And if you want to hear more about Dane's truck or want to see more videos on that, just comment below. Thanks for joining. Till next time.